Yes, people, Ricky here from Behind the Bars TV, bringing you stories from in prison and on the streets. Also telling my story about my time whilst I was in prison and how I used prison to better myself and turn my mindset from negative to positive. I'm now sharing stories to let people know what prison is really like. And I also do podcasts with people that have been to prison and how they came out and changed their life around. I am the proud owner of Ruthless Fitness Gym and author of the book Behind the Bars Ruthless Fitness, whilst I wrote whilst on a recall back to prison. And it teaches the individual how to change their mindset from negative to positive.
Hello everybody, I hope everybody's well. Welcome back to another episode of the Nee Divvies podcast, and today's special guest is Laura Baxter.
Hi.
Britain's strongest woman. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on. We've been speaking in the background a little while, and I'm glad we've eventually got this date sorted that suited us both. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you. Journey down all right?
It was good. I enjoy driving down that road. Is it A74?
Yes, 74.
It's good.
It is a nice run, isn't it?
It's quite scenic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm going to start, as I always start. We do have a bit of a loose format. I'm going to, give you as long as you like, as long or as little as you like, just to talk a little bit about your childhood, where you're from, how things were at school, and maybe any sports or activities you've done, relationships with your parents, where you moved about, and etc. You take your time, and
Right.
when you're ready.
So growing up in Scotland, it was good. Had a good childhood. I grew up with my dad and my brother for a good 14 years, which was good because I think like growing up with men around my life, it taught me a lot of like to be independent as a woman. I had a lot of competitions with my brother. He's older than me. So I was always quite a competitive child growing up. And I tended to win quite a lot against him. He'll hate me saying this, but I did. So I had a great childhood. It was fun. Loads of cousins. Quite settled in my hometown, Blackburn. So I share a hometown with Susan Boyle. So I'm actually not the most famous in Blackburn. But I'm trying to get there. So moving on for that, I just got into strength training. It was enjoyable, to say the least. I've got a daughter in a wheelchair who requires a lot of my time and a lot of my strength. So that's which actually got me into the strength training to begin with. She's here listening in the background.
So what age did you have your daughter?
20.
20, yeah.
Aye, so I was quite young. And I went for my scan for halfway through the pregnancy, and that's when we found out that she had our disability.
Yeah.
So we were aware that she was going to have this when she was born, which was quite a lot to take on at such a young age.
Yeah.
I was probably a wee bit naive at the time to think how hard it would be, but I think we've managed to push through the hard-ish years.
Yeah.
So things are in a wee positive
Yeah.
light now that I'm in this position and I'm able to be as strong as I can physically and mentally for her.
Yeah.
And a lot of the strength training helped me be mentally stronger, as well as physically.
Well, there's a very good vibe. You got a good energy between you. Could pick up. You have a really good energy. You seem to have a really close bond. All of you.
Definitely.
And that stands out. It stood out when I first met you in there.
Stuck to my hip.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about how you got into this strong woman, strength training, and where it started, how it started, because I believe it was quite late, for the achievement that you've made. It was quite late. So if you just want to tell us a little bit about that, how it started, why it started.
Right. So I was training at the commercial gym, just farting about, not doing much, no following any sort of programme. It was just like, oh, just a wee bit of running on the treadmill and a bit of the leg press. Oh, done 100 kilo, this is great. Never felt like I was getting anywhere because I had gained a wee bit of weight. In the later years, and then I joined a proper gym with my partner, and we go onto like a programme of strength training, and then we joined a strongman gym, but unfortunately lockdown had closed all the gyms, so we weren't able to continue with that journey in a gym. So we got a lot of weights to the back door of the house and trained out the back in a car park for the full of the lockdown. It was like snowing, raining, getting any weather. We had like 2 jackets on, breaking all the slabs. Like neighbours were like, "What the fuck are they doing?" But I know we continued just solid training.
Sorry to interrupt you. Was it your partner that was, you know, noticing and recognising the strength that you had initially when you were training?
Aye, like he was always pushing me on, and we got a strength coach, so we had done a wee bit of maxing out of numbers, and they were quite good numbers for somebody that didn't train. But I think like early years I'd built up the strength for lifting my daughter. And I was always quite like a shy person, so I hated somebody like kind of zoning in on me or anything like that. So I kind of just got on with my training and doing all the weak bits and just doing what I was told, really. And then we got back to the gym, but I think the gym's open for a wee while.
Was it post lockdown? I take it you got back in the gym, yeah?
Back in the gym post lockdown, but I think it was only open for another couple of months and then it shut again.
Right.
I'm sure that's what happened in Scotland. So that took us like up into my just about 10 weeks before my first competition. We got into the gym properly again, and that's when I was able to train the events that was going to be in the competition.
Yeah.
Totally nervous for my first competition. No idea, like.
How did this first competition come about? Did you decide you want to do it yourself? Did someone suggest it to you? Was it, you know, were you entered in it by somebody else?
So the level that I was lifting, everybody was like, you should just go to Scotland's Strongest Woman and do that. Whereas just getting into the sport, you would think about maybe doing some novice competitions, there's intermediates, there's a load of different levels that folk usually would take. Whereas I was just like, right, I'll do the Scottish, because I looked at the weights and I was like, I can manage that. Do you know, it was just whether I could manage it, manage everything, like the nerves, everything like that, because I always ride the nerve train, always. Like, it just comes in waves with me. But it works, the adrenaline works for me. A lot of people, it works against them, but I know, like, for me, it's a good thing. And you always get, like, that extra 10%.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, of course you do.
So 10 weeks prep for my first competition. Prep was going great. I had hit quite a lot of the numbers. I was doing great in the training. My confidence was up because of that. So I was ready. I think just maybe 5 weeks before the British, I got a nutritionist. So things really did turn up a gear 5 weeks before it. And I went into Scotland's Strongest Woman and I won like 5 out of 6 events. Just sweep the flare. It was mad, like bizarre.
Yeah, I bet. First competition.
It was completely like crazy to me because I've obviously doubted myself. And I've still got tendencies to do that.
As we do as people, you know. I
still don't realise how good I am until obviously this year I'd went to the bigger competitions and
I want to get into that competition in a minute, but first I want to know, and I want just for the people watching that maybe don't fully understand, you know, what is the criteria in the event? You know, I believe it's just the same as like when we watch the World's Strongest Man on the telly, you know.
That's right.
The events are just the same,
I've done, like, for example, I'll just give you some in my events that I've done. I've pulled a truck, I've lifted cars, which was pretty cool, to be fair. I've, like, the big stones, we lift the big stones up to huge barrels. I've done that.
Atlas stones.
Atlas stones, it's just like deadlifts, it's overhead, logs. I've got the Scottish record in the log as well. I was the first woman in Scotland to press 100 kilo above my head. So I've took the record on that.
Well done.
And this was just after the Scottish, and got the deadlift record as well.
So is it always the same events in every competition, or do they mix it up? Because
No, they mix it.
they mix it up.
So there's
yeah.
like grip events, there's static events like your deadlift, there's overhead, there's moving events, which is like sandbags. So you could be picking up a sandbag and running with it.
Yeah.
Or you could like pick up a sandbag and put it up to your shoulder.
Yeah.
For reps. But
So there's like a different range of almost each event, you know, and they'll pick and choose them. You know, how do they come about picking that? You know, is there a vote, or what is it done by?
I think it's the organisers.
Yeah.
And I think like when they're doing it, they'll think about what was on it last year, so they try and mix it up. So it could be like a medley. If you're doing like sometimes you could do like a max deadlift, and other times it would be like 3 different bars with different weights on it.
Yeah.
But it's the fastest. It's always the fastest who wins.
What's some of your favourite events?
Moving events. I like moving events.
Yeah.
But I'm getting good with deadlift. I used to like dislike it. I didn't feel safe when I deadlifted because I've always got to keep my back intact. You see people deadlift and they'll go like balls to the wall, like I can pull this thing, get my soul sort of thing. Wherein I'm like, I couldn't do that. I've got to keep my back like safe for lifting my daughter. I can't risk an injury. But it's getting better because I've been so cautious for so long. I've built it up, and now I feel like my form and everything. I feel like I can't get injured lifting, and obviously the main priority now with the standard that I'm at is staying injury free.
Yeah.
And avoiding all risks.
Yeah.
But deadlift and moving events is my favourite.
So would a moving event be like, is that like they call it the farmer's walk? Is it
So
when?
we've got farmer's walk, the yoke. So when the yoke, run with the
I've seen
yoke.
that one, yeah.
I'm good at that. I'm fast. Like every moving event, I've never been beat. Never been beat in a moving event.
Wow. Is there any, shall we say, competition, you know, over the border? You know, is there any, you know, anyone kind of, you know, almost nipping your backside for a position there, you know?
So there is.
Yeah.
There is. And
we're not here to talk about them. You know, I'm just asking, you know.
No, there definitely is. But I mean, they push me to my limit. And I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I've lacked in Scotland. It's, you know, I've never felt like I've had to try so hard. And it's just the level I'm at.
Yeah.
Do you know, like there is a few in England, there's a few in Wales, it's the actual standard in Scotland that I'm just way above now.
Yeah.
So there's nobody that can beat me in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then I'll come down to the Brits, and there is competition for me, so it pushes me and it gives me a wee bit.
So this the Scottish title, did this give you like a qualification or a, you know, onto the British? Were you asked or invited? And is that how it works?
That's
I take
how
it,
it works, aye.
Yeah, so you need to win Scotland before you can be in the Brits. Is
I
that
think
how it works?
it's first, second and third to get through to the Brits.
Right.
Because it's like 3 for each country, and then we all battle it out later on in the year. So
your first competition in the Brits, you know, when did that take place?
That was September last year. And I was like, and still I couldn't believe still at that point I'd won Scottish. Do you know what? And nobody had heard about me. So like everybody was talking about other athletes that could potentially be here or there. So I went down, stayed in a shit hotel, like it was miles out. It was, and the karaoke was on all night. It was badly planned. But got there, it was roasting. I can always remember it was absolutely sweltering. It was held in Doncaster Dome.
Right, yeah.
So it's like a big arena. So it was quite cool because obviously when the Scotland's was held, it was in a gym. It was good wee crowd, but it was just small.
Yeah.
And then you go down to like Doncaster Dome and it's like a huge crowd and it's buzzing, Ken, and you're like...
You know you're at like a national event when you're there,
Oh, aye, definitely. You knew it was different class. So I was in a winning position when I was doing the Brits, but then I made a mistake at the very last event, which cost me 2 places. So I went from first to third, and I was absolutely gutted. Like, obviously, like, I'd come back home, people would be like, "You done great, third place, Scotland's strongest woman's third in Britain," and I just couldn't process it like that, because I felt like I'd lost rather than I won it.
Yeah.
Because I had obviously dropped 2 places in the last event, and it was just, I couldn't even look at my trophy. That's how bad it was.
What was that? You know, if you don't mind us asking, what was that? You know, what was the reason for that in that event? You know, did you hadn't trained enough, perhaps?
No, well, it was roasting. So I'd put the tacky on, see the tacky for the Atlas stones. I put it on, and it just went like chewing gum, as opposed to tacky. Like, obviously tacky's meant to be sticky.
Yeah. And
because it was so warm, it just started melting. And when I tried to lift the stones, it just kept slipping, and I was so frustrated because I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And I'd done it so many times in training. There was no excuse for it, but it was a equipment failure.
Right.
And I was just absolutely heartbroken. So obviously that just fired me up to want to win the Brits this year.
Yeah.
And it didn't hold me back.
Talk us a little bit through that, you know.
So getting there in my grief for coming third.
And I know, I've seen you train. You know, we're gonna put your Instagram in the link in the description. We'll give you the chance at the end to shout anything out you want. But obviously, you train hard. I've seen you training. You know, you train like demons. You know,
Why?
But all that training that went into the first time round, did you make sure you put more work into the events that you missed out on second time round?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There was not, like, as the pun goes, there was no stone unturned. It was a stone that let me down. And it was just like programming the stones constantly. I knew that they weren't going to put the weights up any higher. So if I kept like doing the stone run, and my height's an advantage because I'm 5'11", I'm probably like one of the tallest 82s there is.
Yeah.
A lot of them are a wee bit like smaller. Women are generally small. I was the abnormal one standing in the back when I was younger, the tall one. Like, put her at the back, she's tall, sort of thing. So it's an advantage because when you're getting it up, you can be quite rapid with it.
Yeah.
And I just kept programming it, like, and I was just running through the stone run. I was so confident this year.
Yeah.
And it was warm again when I went back down this year, but I just went into the toilet and just ran my arms under the cold water so it wouldn't turn like chewing gum. Yeah. And I'm out dabbing, like, I took my t-shirt off and I kept it wet and kept it cool. And then when I put my tacky on, it was like magic.
Smashed it.
And I did. It was rapid. It was the only one to finish it.
So is it, you know, your body types, you're saying, you know, you're tall for the weight for 82, you know, is it certain body types fare better in different events? Yeah?
I'd say, like...
Give us some examples of that.
Right, so being tall is a massive advantage because a lot of the stuff, like you're maybe putting a stone over a certain height or you're getting it up to like maybe 50 inch, which is high, like higher for a woman. A smaller woman would need to have the stone there and sort of press it to get it up.
Yeah.
So they could be stuck with a fairly light stone and I'm like literally just doing it in one motion. I can lift it right up and then I'm away. Whereas, but again, like even with my long legs, like moving events and that, I can just keep it moving quite fast. A lot of them kind of get the centre of gravity and stuff like that. But
So do you think there is events what favour, say, shorter, more squatter body types? Yeah, like perhaps squatting maybe.
There will be. Squatting's never really been a strong event for me, but I can like squat 180 now.
Wow.
Ken, it's getting there. Yeah. It's getting better.
I would say, yeah. Definitely.
I feel like it's one of my weaker ones, but it is getting there. Yeah. But again, I'm just cautious of any injury or that, so I've just got to watch.
So this we'll call it a victory, you know, this you know, Britain's strongest woman title that you achieved, which is quite the title, is it not? You know, you know, you must be very proud of yourself.
I was delighted.
Yeah,
very like accomplished. I felt like I'd proven what I was capable of because I knew I was capable of it last year.
Yeah,
I knew, like in my heart of hearts, like that title should have been mine.
Yeah,
and I just felt like comfort knowing that brought that title home.
Yeah. And I know when you see it on the point system, when I watch, the times when I do watch, the world's strongest man, what sort of deficit, what thing were we talking about? Did you smash it out the park, or what was it? Anybody, like I say, close to nipping you?
11 points clear.
That's quite a margin, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And that was me getting. So we had one of the events was sandbag run.
Yeah.
So it was 80, 90, 100 and 110. And the way that they had set them up meant that I had picked up the heavier bag before the lighter bag. And then they tried to give me a penalty for that. And they gave me a 3-second penalty for it. And I still won that event.
Yeah.
And then I could have left the last event and still won the competition, but I wanted to do the stones because we had unfinished business with the stones.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, like I say, what an achievement in itself, and that's a title, in itself. It's world's strongest woman. It's like something, it's up there with like an MBE. It's something that's attached to your name, isn't it? It's not you're Laura Baxter, Britain's strongest woman. It's not just something that you do.
No.
You are Britain's strongest woman, and that's an achievement and a title in itself. And something, fair play for you for not getting disheartened after that first event, because you see a lot of people that try these things, especially with you being so new in the sport. It would have disheartened so many people, and I think that sort of margin, or I don't want to say a failure, but that sort of falling short, in any sport, it's them very small margins, and that make the biggest difference sometimes.
Definitely.
And fair play to you for getting back in the gym and destroying it.
Like the good thing is, or the thing that went against me most, even to this day, is lack of experience in the sport, and I think that's what lets me down, because winning the Brits qualified me for the first pro strong woman show in the UK. So that was held in Birmingham in September. Aye, so it was the Arnold Classic.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've seen that, watch bits of it, yeah.
Aye, it was huge. And I was competing in front of 4,000 people.
Wow.
Sharing a stage with Alexei Salvikis and Alexei Novikov, or these Mitchell Hooper. These are strong men, and sharing a stage with them, it was something else. But just being in the same place was just bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
And it's that, I think it's that in a lot of sports, it's that when you get to that level, it's you need the experience, because you can do as much gym time and as much spending time with this person and that person and all the training in the world for that matter, but when you get on that stage and you get beside these people who have the experience, it's a very different feeling.
Definitely.
And it doesn't really matter what the prep that you've put in, because it's still new.
Very.
That's why you're talking about the experience,
Aye, so that was like a 2-day competition. Instead it rammed into 1 day. It was 2 days, and there was 3 hours in between each event. So obviously I came second in that competition.
Well done.
To 3 times world's strongest woman. And everything was so close. So I know now where I'm at. Yeah. And it did. I came away, even though I came away third, the first British I had, and it crushed me.
Yeah.
Coming away with second at the pro show, I was proud of myself.
I bet.
Very it was such a different feeling, because I knew where I was at.
Yeah.
And I know where I'm at now.
Uh-huh.
I know what I'm capable of.
So is that next, I take it?
The Worlds is next.
Yeah.
That's the big ultimate goal. And I know what I'm capable of. If I put everything if I put my mind to it, I know I can do it.
That's the mindset you need,
Aye.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Well done. And when is this? Are you in training for this now?
I'm not training at them. I'm training.
Yeah.
I'm training hard as fuck. It's crazy. My coach is like, do this. Because you just don't know when something's going to pop up. But I literally have nothing on the cards. I've got a big competition in March. Which will be in Nottingham Arena. This is a different organisation for the Nationals. These are filmed for the TV. So it's a great show. Like, the guy puts on a great show. It's fire and it's cool events.
Yeah.
It's something that's really nice to be a part of.
Yeah, good production, yeah.
Ah, it was brilliant. Aye, it's the UK, so it'll be the Four Nations. I'll be up against like quite a lot of the big ladies. Although I do compete at 8 to 2 kilos, these will be the open weights that I'll be up against.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I'm just going to go and get the experience that I lack still in some events, and then I've got the ultimate Scottish again, and then it kind of just rolls on to like the British and the normal Scottish. But the main goal is the Worlds next year, which is held in Florida.
And you'll put your name forward for a gladiator. And the gladiators what's coming.
I've applied for the Gladiators.
Yeah, get on. I remember that.
Aye.
That was brilliant. That I remember
I know.
that. It's part of my childhood. That, you know,
Aye.
all the different characters, like the Wolfman that everybody loved to hate, and you know, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Tell me a little bit about this. You know, this trip to Florida. You know, do you get any expenses? You know, if you don't mind us asking, what sort of prize money are we talking? You know, do you have to foot your own hotels and that for the time being? Or, you know, how does this work? Do you get sponsors?
I've got sponsors, so I literally got snapped up after my first competition. I was lucky enough to get Strength Shop. They get on my kit. Anything I need for training, that's mine. Do you know what I mean? They'll come and take photos, and Ken, it's quite a good thing that they do.
Yeah.
I've got a sports massage therapist, so Caledonia Sports. They give me all my treatments and all that. If I need it, if I've got injuries, they'll sort me out. It's, same sponsor as Tom Stoltman, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's pretty much it just now. So there is talks in the line that I've got some other like building, scaffolding, stuff like that. Like if my dad had phoned me and he said that he's been talking to somebody, so that's quite positive. In terms of like getting to Florida, obviously it's expensive, but
Absolutely.
I would rely probably mostly on some sponsorship and again like savings. And if I'm able to like get t-shirts done, stuff like that, then that'd be like a move forward. But I would need to speak to somebody who knows a bit more better than that. Like my coach is quite good that way. He can set up stuff like that. He's more business orientated than I am. I just pretty much go with the flow and see where I go.
Yeah, it reminds me of myself a little bit. That. Unless if there is anybody out there, you know, wanting to perhaps, you know, potentially sponsor Laura on a journey and that, you know, we're going to put an Instagram and that up at the end, and, you know, anyone free to get in touch, you know. So I wanted to know a little bit about the prize money, and I'm aware this is something that isn't done for money. You know, I know you love I know you like doing what you're doing, and I know you want the titles more than you want the money. But you know, what sort of prize money perhaps we will be talking about
in the Worlds?
Yeah,
I've not got a clue. Like it's something that I've not tapped into. I know I
can tell you're not motivated by the money. You know, I'm aware of that.
It's like in terms of for the women and the men, it's different. So the men still get paid a lot more than the women,
right?
And it is shit. Do you know what I mean? Like,
of course.
A lot of the women, they put a lot, and it's travelling, and it's kind of, there is a lot of stuff that goes into it in the background. But I did win. This year was the first sort of year that I've won money. So I got money for the Brits and I got money for the Arnolds.
Yeah.
And it's a start. Do you know what I mean?
Of course it is.
It is a start, and we can only make it bigger now for the women. And it is getting bigger, like every year.
Yeah.
And it's great to be a part of it. Like at this stage, because I know it's just getting bigger. And that was the team event. There was a team event last weekend, and they were all like paid, and it was Giants Live. It was on the telly. It was cool as fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? And I was like, where was my invite?
Yeah,
but kind of hang. But do you know what I mean? It was so good to watch the women and the men competing together. Because I think like the women bring a great buzz. We bring a lot more like. Atmosphere.
100%. It's not only that, you know, I think with the women competing in that sport, you get like a crossover. You know, you get a lot of women that perhaps never watched just the world's strongest woman. You know, they've never had any interest in it, but now that there's women competing, you know, you're getting all kinds of fans crossing over.
Lifting the same as the men.
Well, this is it, you know, but you're getting more, you're attracting more eyes, you know, you're putting more bums in seats, you're getting more views on the platforms and that, you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely, you know, it can only be a good thing. Absolutely. And, you know, getting a few cash bonuses must be nice, you know, when you do something that you really enjoy and you're not doing it for the money.
Of course,
you know,
no.
you know, it's really nice.
I think the titles, they mean a lot more in this. When you're, if you win World's Strongest Woman, then you are World's Strongest Woman. You're going to bring business to you. Do you know what I mean? You're going to want people to talk to you.
Of course.
Get where you need to be because you've got that title. For example, you could be like opening a gym and have that when you're gym. People want to go and train where World's Strongest Women train. Do you know what I mean?
And I think everybody, you know, that's doing that is likely of all the same mindset. You know, if you know, I can't imagine anybody doing this for the money. You know, there's a lot easier ways to make money. You know, people do what you do for the love of it, you know, because they want the titles, you know, and it's an incredible thing, you know, what you've achieved in such a short amount of time, you know. Without a doubt, you'll be an inspiration to a lot of people, you know, watching this and, you know, on your platforms and that. And it's sometimes difficult to accept that. I can tell you're not brash and you're not arrogant, you know, I can tell that by meeting you, but you do seem very self-confident, you know, and that in itself, you know, send a message.
Aye.
You know?
I'm confident in my ability, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm confident in spreading good, like, vibes and trying to be inspirational.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I've been able to talk about, like, because I am a mummy, a disabled child, you know, and she does require a lot of my time and a lot of my strength, and we've got to work around that. So it's getting, like, obviously the family balance and then training balance and things like that.
Yeah.
I hope that inspires a lot of people in the same situation or a similar situation.
Yeah. Just
to know that it's no all bad. Do you know what I mean? Because I have been there when it was all bad.
Yeah.
And my vice, for example, was like alcohol. Do you know, I did and hide a lot of my alcohol. Used to drink quite a bit, but do you know, more than what somebody would usually have to do that or hide and drink it and stuff like that. That's no good. Do you know what I mean?
Bad news at an appointment and that.
Aye. So like if it was bad news or if things didn't go how I thought they were going to go, then it would just be like, could just have a drink to try and forget about it. Whereas it obviously wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for trying to get past it. So I feel healthy and I feel strong. Like I feel like I've accepted a lot of things because I'm facing up to them as well. And I'm confident that way. I'm confident that people watching me do this can see what I do and I can still do it.
Absolutely. And I think you're doing, you know, you're inspiring people, you know, without trying. You know, it's not like you're doing it. I know you're doing this for yourself, you know, and I know you're doing it for your family. And I know, you know, I can tell, like I've said before, the unit that you are, you know, you are all very close and there's a really good energy, you know, which I mentioned. But, you know, you're inspiring people just by being yourself. You know, you're not acting out a character. You know, you're doing something that you want to do. And just a little bit touch on that before, you know, about drinking and that, and you know, that's humans. You know, we all do that. We don't always want to feel a certain way, so we'll take something or we'll do something, you know, to mask that or to feel what we feel might be better or different. You know, when it's, you know, as we both know, it's not always the case.
No.
You know, I'll ask you after this. I'm going to put everything you require in the descriptions. You know, is there any sponsors, any shout outs, anybody from back home, you know, and any shout outs, you know, we're in no rush at all, you know, anyone you want to mention or anything before we start closing this up?
Aye, so sponsors, I've already mentioned them. So I've got Strength Shop in Caledonia Sports. I've got my gym, who's also the guy that owns it, is my coach. He's done a great job in pushing me on. That's Hostile Strength and Conditioning. If you're ever in Scotland, come up and train there.
Yeah.
Bring your hat and scarf because it's cold. Obviously my family. So I've got my husband and my two kids. One of them's at school.
Yeah.
It's Caelan and Colin. And then Big Colin. And then the other Colin, who's my father-in-law. There's so many Collins now in my life.
What about that big tribe of cousins you've got back home?
I've got a big tribe of cousins are very supportive. Everybody that supports me, I'm just grateful and stuff like that.
I'm going to ask you, you know, put you on the spot a little bit here. Anybody, you know, watching this, and I mean anybody at all, you know, watching this, what would you say to them, you know, you know, give them some words of wisdom, you know, some inspirational thoughts or words if you can about, you know, I mean, just look at what you've achieved in the time that you've been doing what you've doing, you know, some words of advice, some words of inspiration, if you like, just to close this up.
Stay positive. Always just make time for yourself. Make time to make yourself happy so you can project that. If you're in a sad place, it's not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit anybody that's around you. So make time for yourself and do something for yourself. It's going to make you a better person. Whether it just be get up a wee bit earlier, get into a better routine. Because I found that, like, my routine is so important to me. Whereas before I never had a routine, and I used to wake up thinking like it was hard.
Yeah.
Waking up was hard. My day ahead, thinking about it was hard. Whereas now I just don't think about it. I'm just like, right, come on, let's go, firing.
Yeah.
See what the day brings.
Yeah. Well done. And thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap. Britain's strongest woman. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye for now.